As a Nintendo dude, an unapologetic Nintendo guy, like that E3 for me was like magical because I'm going to the Nintendo booth. But the air in the room overall of the show was like very much like, I don't know, man, that Mario Kart is really slow. I remember we ate lunch and there was like it was at an In-N-Out or something like that. And there are these European guys that asked us like, what'd you guys think of the games of the show? And I was all, Mario Kart, we got him. And the guy was just like, yeah, no, it's slow. I don't like it at all. But it's funny now, Double Dash, the GameCube Mario Kart, is like, it's beloved.
It's one
like
of
it's
the
absolutely
revered,
beloved
totally.
as like one of the best Mario Karts, if not the best.
Yeah.
So that one that's special for me because it was my first for sure. The Ninja Turtle sewer hotel that you're talking about.
Yeah, that's part of it. And just like for you, I mean, you're at least as much a gamer as I am, but like walking around the first time when you have the badge, and the badge, by the way, we won't mention the person's name who you got the badge from, but I'll say that person was a game tester with me, and it was a man who stood about 6'5" and was built like a construction worker, and literally showed up to work to be a game tester every day with a lunch pail that had a thermos of coffee in
That's so cool.
He would just sit down and play. God, what were we testing at the time? The Hobbit game and Simpsons Hit and Run, I think.
He's just there, just Fred Flintstone with his big brontosaurus burger.
It made me happy when you had his E3 badge.
It was fitting. It made sense.
Yeah, that was great.
I am not a little man.
But just say for a second, I don't know if I've ever actually asked you, like how, your first E3, I had told you about going to E3s before, and there's all this, we're near the zenith, the E3's on the rise. You're really into games. Like how great was it?
So my first E3, like once again, 20 years ago this year, that's one of my favorite like memories in period, like in general. I've always wanted to go. I grew up reading GamePro and Nintendo Power and like hanging out at the Stater Brothers news magazine section, and like that was my source of the industry for, we did not get the internet until like 1999 or something like that.
Right.
But it was so much fun, and so like things like Mario Kart Double Dash, which I still love to this day, like all that stuff is great. And the game, like I remember another game that they debuted was Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes for GameCube, which I particularly love. A lot of people poo-poo that game, but they're entitled to said poo-pooing. I do not. I champion the game. But more than any of that stuff, like we're talking about E3 in the Bush years. So I went to 03, 04, 05. And what I mean by that is like the opulence, the amount of spending that was done at E3 at those times was insane. Like I remember the end of my first E3, like the booths were closing down, and then like magic, like people were literally yelling like, "Hey, do you want free crap?" Like we don't want to put this stuff in boxes. So people would just line up and get in line for not just like free t-shirts or like your swag stuff, but like line up for like actual products. Like I came home with an action replay for the Xbox, which like I maybe used once, but the fact is I got it for free, and it was actually handy transferring saves with it.
And
so
got some sweet eBay bucks out of that, right?
eBay bucks would come later. I would go so. My later E3 missions was I was that scumbag reseller that would get in line to get all the crap, not give a hoot about the games because daddy's on the clock. I was making money. I was making good cheddar going to eBay those years. But it's one of my favorite memories. Like it was literally like going into a magical wonderland. And I think you hear that a lot. Like that's a common story for people that you hear on other podcasts or like maybe game journalists that have gotten to go to E3. Like their first E3 is like this magical experience where it's like a Willy Wonka type deal.
Totally,
you see where all these things are being made, and again, like I can't stress this enough. Like backpacks full of crap.
The swag culture in E3, I actually didn't include it in my notes. I'm glad you brought it up independently, but boy, that you could outfit yourself for an entire calendar year,
and we
did. Just E3 t-shirts,
just looking just as badass as can be. Like you better believe I'm wearing a Nina from Tekken shirt. Want to go on a date with me, babe? I play Nina.
I'm seeing the volleyball game, DOA volleyball.
And that goes over well. We joke, we laugh. We're now married with children, but right. back in the E3 going days,
different time, 20 years ago,
different game altogether.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was magical. Those first 3 that I went to, all of them were sneak-ins for me. Every one of them.
Was Sega still a console maker? Your first E3?
No.
Okay. My first E3 they were, and it was actually a big 4 then. There was Sony, Nintendo. At the 2001, it was Microsoft and Sega both had an overlap there, where there's 4 actual console makers. That was pretty cool.
That ruled. Sega was always a huge presence at all the E3s that I went to.
As a developer, though,
as a third-party developer. In fact, that first 2003 was the first time that they did that, and like their big game of the show was Sonic Heroes, which is okay. Just because we're in the timeline and it's a natural way to do this, we're going to talk about specifically E3 2004. It's one that you and I both attended.
Yes.
And
I have a lot of memories of.
We have a lot of memories of that one. That one, not only did I sneak in, but like a lot of our friends snuck in on that one.
Yeah, it was a whole group of us.
And it was as easy as taking candy, as they say. But we had such a good time.
Oh, and I think on that one, oh man, I hope this is true. You just cut it if it's not. But isn't that the one where it's not just that we had a fake name badge for a guy, but that one guy had to leave with 2 name badges. Like we all, like 5 of us went in.
Yes.
And then somebody gave their badge to another guy.
It would be a do-si-do, like sneaking in someone into a movie.
That movie.
With,
it's
with the two ticket stubs.
Yeah.
That's how you did it.
So we did that for at least one guy. So that's next level stuff. So.
I think so. It would be funny to have a statistic on like how many people did what we did. Because obviously tons of people did what we did.
Well,
had to have.
Well, you'd have to, in terms of the demographics, it's like what percentage of E3 attendees in general were at our level of lack of notoriety where they would care about sneaking their friends in. You know, if you're at like an actual executive producer level, a legitimate producer for EA or something like that, I'm not sure if you're thinking like, I got to get my old college buddy into E3.
Exactly. It doesn't work that way.
So it might actually be a smaller demographic than you think.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna have this caveat real quick. So these are digital photos from 2004.
Yeah, boy.
They don't look good. They will be full screen. They are grainy, but that's kind of part of the magic. But bear with us on that.
As long as we look good.
Yeah. We look young.
Yeah.
We look young. Oh, that's better. That's better than now. I'll give you that. But good. Meh. Okay.
Do I have some sick frosted tips going?
Oh, buddy. That's like the second picture in. Okay, so I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna have you turn on that TV.
All right.
Alrighty. And then I'm gonna do this so that we can see the TV. So right off the top here, you should all see the legendary Phantom. It is a console. Yes, we are there. We are live. So
the Phantom is on, Brian.
The Phantom is on. This is I would probably say the most famous or infamous piece of vaporware that I've ever gotten to play or see in person. It's not a thing that's like known very well these days.
Not anymore at the time.
But here's what's nuts about this thing. It again 20 years ago, like it was before Steam. Yeah. It was before any eShop, any digital storefront. The whole angle of this thing was it's a gaming PC that you plugged into your TV. And loop it into your hi-fi if you're so inclined.
Right.
And you would be able to download and play over broadband PC games from the convenience of your chair.
So the idea was one that had merit. And I think everybody at the idea thought that, or at the time thought that the idea had merit.
Yes.
But the entity behind it was just laced with controversy and shadowy questions about where they were getting their funding
from. Very crimey stuff. And
the logistics of how this is all going to work. And so the industry as a whole, and when I say the industry, I mean all of us kids at the time who were kind of looking at this thing, were largely dismissive of it, if not derisive of it.
Right.
And not taking it too seriously. And then they announced we're going to be at E3. And Brian, you and I were going to be at E3, and that was a date for sure.
That was the first thing we did.
A date with Destiny.
It was a date with Destiny. It was the first thing we did. We waited in line,
and and that was probably the longest I've ever waited for anything at any E3.
Well, that kind of shows you the buzz at the time about that that gadget.
But the buzz was it was car accident buzz. It was not like this is the next cool
100%.
thing buzz. And then, so Brian, you were lucky enough. I didn't actually do the sit down. You did the full sit down.
I did, which I believe I have. I'm gonna change photos here. So there's another shot of the Phantom.
yeah.
Again, this is like a 2 megapixel camera.
So Brian sits down and in character feigns tremendous enthusiasm for the product as he's getting coached from, I believe, the CEO of the company.
I think so. I think so.
I don't know if you have a shot of him, but I hope so.
Maybe that comes later. I will be fully honest and say I don't remember the order of these pictures. All I know is that they're all from 2004 E3.
So Brian sits down and they turn the console on, and Brian says very enthusiastically, "The Phantom is on."
Yeah, it was on. I saw it turn on. It had a if I forgot to put the picture in, I'll just say it now. It had their controller was what they called a lap board.
Oh yeah,
and it was a keyboard that like folded out and like did a little swivel action.
By far the coolest thing about the console.
Oh yeah, but it was like you could tell like if you breathed on it incorrectly, like it's just gonna shatter into a million pieces.
It looked awesome and it operated awesome.
Yes.
If it held together.
Exactly. If it could hold together. All right, let's see what's next. Oh, there he is.
Hey.
So look, first and foremost, look at those frosted tips. Look at
frosted
those
tips. Yeah.
Your baby face and those frosted tips. And there's some fella next to you.
This is fantastic. So first of all, you didn't notice this, Brian. I'm sure you didn't notice this, but I'm wearing a Hard OCP hoodie.
Oh.
And Hard OCP was the tech enthusiast PC computer builders website of choice. Basically, what you guys out there all recognize Gamers Nexus to be now, Hard OCP was back at the time.
Right.
And importantly, they did this epic takedown of the developer of the Phantom console. Yeah. And then so much so that the Phantom developer sued Hard OCP, and then Hard OCP won the lawsuit. They had to pay Hard OCP attorney's fees, I believe. So anyway, it's kind of dovetails perfectly because I'm walking around wearing a hoodie for this website that was at the time at war with the Phantom console, right, which was having its major debut at this E3. And also, there's a billionaire sitting next to me in that photo. So.
Yeah, who happens to be
one Gabe Newell that you guys might not recognize without his gray beard and gray hair.
So when I was looking at these pictures, like that's obviously. Once I got done swooning over your frosted tips, I was like, holy crap, he looks so young. Because I saw a recent picture of him, and he's Santa Claus.
Yeah, totally
like,
Santa Claus.
It's nuts. And this is 20 years. Like,
so this he was so accessible at the time because this photo was taken, it's 2004. Half-Life 2 had not come out yet.
That was the E3 that we could go watch it.
You couldn't even play it. You could watch it. Yeah, you had to wait in a line for that.
Yep.
This was before Steam had I think Steam was out in a beta form, but
maybe
Steam didn't get big at all until Half-Life 2 came out, and then really until the Steam sales came out. So Gaben was not the e-celebrity that he is now. No. He was just some guy wandering around E3, and if he didn't have that badge on, he would look like everybody else.
What's this all about? Huh?
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy. I'm back with another Laserdisc movie review. This time it's Abraxas. It's a fucking ultra badass action movie starring Governor Body, Jesse Ventura. He was a wrestler and he talked wrestling, and he was a governor of the city of Minnesota. And he's just all around just a fucking badass guy. He's in this movie called Abraxas. You can see his eye shoots a laser, but like spoilers, he doesn't have a laser eye in the movie, which is strike one, really. But that's, I fucking swear, the only strike of the whole movie. Period.
Yeah.
All right, next on. So this is a shot of the Nintendo booth of 04.
This is spectacular, by the way. I love this trip down memory lane.
So these, as you can see, like all the signage and all this stuff, they go in and they rig it all. Probably, I'm guessing like a week of work just to get this booth done. But you can see like how much money they spent on this kind of stuff. So you have a Resident Evil 4 sign up there that this was the E3 that they were showing that off, and then the sequel to Metroid Prime Echoes is on the right side there. Of course, you have Pokemon deep in the background, where I am probably lurching around. So they gave out this year these e-reader, Game Boy Advance e-reader Pokemon cards that like I just happened to get like 5 or 6 of. And like a couple years ago, I sold them on eBay for hundreds of dollars each. That's hundreds of
Daddy's
dollars
on
each.
The clock.
Yeah. Oh, Daddy is on the clock at all times. So let's go to the next one. Next slide. And there's me.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
20-year-old me.
Yeah, Ryu
And I'm
love.
hugging a Ryu with a chin strap beard.
They had to give you an idea of our mentality at the time. They had Street Fighter 2 arcade cabinets set up there. I think. Like,
Yeah, well, the game that they were promoting that year was Anniversary Collection, which had Super Turbo and then like a special version of Super Turbo called Anniversary Collection.
and we had all pirated that, and then so to just be jerks.
Pirated on the Dreamcast.
Somebody pulled out a laptop and was playing the emulated version of the game.
Yeah, that's right.
While we were watching the actual.
I totally forgot about that. What a power play! What a power play! So yeah, that's a giant Ryu statue that I'm hugging, and would do again in a heartbeat. So here's me just flipping out over an N-Gage. Let me tell you, I thought I
had this in our
I
notes.
thought for sure.
Yeah.
For sure that the N-Gage was going to be the be-all end-all device that it promised to be. A mobile phone.
Yeah, we're
Bob,
early in the
that
show,
plays
Brian.
games.
I'm not sure if they can detect your sarcasm either yet.
Yeah, that's true. Fair play.
And that's another one that, much like the Phantom,
This
man,
was
it's
a
so
joke.
funny. They were at the exact same E3.
They were at the same E3.
These two jokes,
and it was this was, I would argue, was the bigger joke of the two big jokes there, and they spent a ton of money on their booth. I didn't have any big pictures of the booth, but just this one. But it was like this big dome made of steel that you would walk in, and it had all kinds of monitors everywhere, and then of course these demo kiosks, and you had to play, playing on a TV, but the controller is an N-Gage. And it was like just about as uncomfortable as you can imagine a game demo going. So yeah, that was kind of a shit talk of the town.
the start of mobile gaming, right there.
Literally.
You're there for it.
This is it. So you want to talk? So the Phantom, which was way ahead of its time in terms of selling games digitally, this was way ahead of mobile games in general.
Two products that just were too far ahead of
It's
their time,
the old Sega approach, man. Do good
yeah.
technologies way too ahead of time, and then fail,
and then everybody
miserably fail.
Miserably fail, and then everybody does what you were doing.
Exactly. All right. Next on the docket. This is me with the lap board. Okay, so this is the picture. That controller that I'm holding there, and you bet.
What a great picture this is.
I am wearing Chicago's finest, Daddy. Macabre is the finest death metal outfit from Chicago for all time. For all time.
So it's a death metal outfit, and then there's an infamous picture on your T-shirt of a serial killer. Is that Albert Fish?
Albert Fish. Yeah, that's Albert Fish.
Yeah, and what did he do, Brian?
Oh, we don't need to get into that. No. We do not need to take this show down that road. I like the band Macabre. I don't like killing. I won't approve of it. So get that through your system.
The Midlife Krisis show is
not about killing.
Against killing any of any kind, especially serial killing.
That's the worst one because they do more than one. Okay, so I'm using the Phantom lap board. You can see there's a mouse underneath, and see how it's kind of kicked up on a hinge.
Yeah.
So that was to make room for the mouse underneath the keyboard. And again, it was very floppy. So yeah, that guy to my right there,
on the far right,
I believe is the CEO of the company.
We think. Yeah.
And then in between is gaming journalist luminary Ryan Scott.
Maybe
we'll reach out to one day and let him know that we're doing this.
Yeah, plug the show.
And
plug the show, Ryan, if you see this.
And the fact that we have now used him, we should probably let him know. Hey, pal,
you're in one of these shots.
You're in one of these shots. But history, I say.
Is that? Oh, look at there. You can see the controller at the very bottom.
Yeah.
There. Oh man. And are those CD-ROMs? What is that? Or is that just the? Oh, that's just.
That's just deco. Yeah, it's just a crappy coffee table type thing.
Yeah, I'm probably from his living room. The CEO brought it in.
Hey, look, you can't. There's no table budget for the Phantom. There's just no table budget for the Phantom.
It's a capital contribution for that.
Exactly. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. All right. Next up. So here's a picture of you playing Virtua Quest.
I have no memory of this. At all.
Yep. That's exactly how I thought.
How good's that game, Brian?
I was going to say, what are your memories of playing Virtua Quest on the GameCube? They are clearly none. So that's exactly how that game went.
I wanted to put that controller down and go play World of Warcraft or something.
I do want to point out, so in addition to you playing this totally lost and forgotten side quest game from the Virtua Fighter series that no one talks about because it's not good. But But you are here in all your full glory, the ever known and ever loved backwards Denver Broncos
the backwards
hat.
baseball cap. Yeah, and go Broncos, by the way.
Yeah,
of course,
sure.
go Broncos.
Yeah, sure.
Go Broncos, the official football team of the Midlife Crisis podcast.
I have no objection to this because the check clears. The check clears. I have no objection to this. Let's go, Denver Broncos.
Yeah. And for the viewers out there, I think for literally every day of my life from approximately 1994 when I met you until approximately 2011 when I got married and my wife banned baseball caps, I wore
this was that look.
backwards fitted baseball cap
naturally.
of various shapes and sizes. So,
and
in fact, when we were doing our wedding, my wife was complaining she couldn't find pictures of me without a baseball hat on to use in our wedding photos.
It sounds right. And what's funny too is, as you can see, full head of hair on that guy.
Yeah,
He's never needed to hide it. Never needed to hide it.
Good genes here. We're doing great.
just fine.
We're doing
there.
just fine.
So that's that one. Let's move along. Oh, who's that?
Oh.
That's the governor of Detroit himself. That's Violent J. That's Violent J of the Insane Clown Posse.
All right, tell your bit about this. I remember your story about this.
I don't remember that story.
It was very similar to Vin Diesel's story in that he walked by and you looked at him to be like, "Hey man," and he just could not give a crap about you at all.
Okay, that sounds about right.
Yeah, he went very dismissively walked by.
Just real quick, I gotta get I love the Insane Clown Posse, but not for the reasons that you may suspect. But then also sometimes for the reasons that you may suspect. So it's a very complex and like twisty-turny relationship that I have with the posse. But for our intents and purposes of this discussion, he's peak powers, Violent J there.
Oh yeah.
They are on top of the world, and they're promoting Backyard Wrestling, the video game. And I was there. I actually had no idea that they were even a part of it. I was there to watch the wrestling because they had a ring set up. And I think Sabu was there and some other guys. So I was waiting to see who was going to make an appearance. And then they happened to show up. I don't even think...
We didn't know.
I don't think Shaggy Two Dope was there at all.
No,
and that is his Christian name, Shaggy Two Dope. I don't think he was there.
Yeah, I just remember seeing
Violent J.
And was this around the time that they were actually on the WCW on TNT television?
So WCW was gone.
Oh yeah, because it's 2001.
But they were very much like
in the scene.
They were
in scene.
They were running their own promotion called Juggalo Champion Shit Wrestling, and they had partnered with the Backyard Wrestling people to create one of the worst video games of all time.
That's my sister in the foreground, by the way.
I think so. Yeah.
Shout out Rhiannon.
What up, girl? All right, next one. So this is the Metal Gear Solid 3 booth setup. Not pictured here was the gigantic theater-sized screen that they played the trailer over and over and over.
Dude, what an awesome setup that is. That
Again,
looks great.
opulence, spending big bucks.
Yeah.
So this one was... it was kind of like a landing point for us because like you would walk in front of that booth. It was like the main feature of the Konami booth, obviously.
Yeah.
And they would this huge carpeted area with like super soft carpet, and like they would play that trailer every like half hour or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And we would just park there and chill out, watch the trailer again, and like look at our treasure bags and our free T-shirts and whatnot.
Your T-shirt exchanges.
Exactly what our booty take was. And so that was like a chill zone spot that we would always gravitate towards. But again, I mean, the amount of money that they spent on it, and like this is Konami when they were a thing, when they actually mattered, and they were making some of the best publishing at least some of the best video games in the world, which they do not do anymore. That is not a thing that they are known for anymore.
Future content there.
Next on the docket. So.
Of course.
This is a very famous picture.
Just go ahead and take it from here,
this
Brian.
This is a very, very famous picture. There's a part 1 and a part 2. So for a time, I want to say like 2009, 10, 11, somewhere in there, if you did a Google image search of E3, just E3, the letter and the number, this would be the number 1 return that would come back. I think it was Kotaku. They did some article about like how E3 normal people in E3 are making it bad. Smelly video game fans are making this place awful. So stop it, guys. And they used
their head
this
image.
picture. They used this picture to convey that. So in reality, what I'm doing is I'm cutting in front of a long line of creeps that wanted to take their pictures with Miss Victoria Silvstedt.
Yeah.
Who in the early 2000s was a big like Maxim model. I don't know if she did anything else other than
She
was just known for
Playboy. She has some Playboy.
Okay, but
shots.
that's modeling. But that was her whole deal, right? She was just kind of like a model.
She was a model, yeah.
So I thought it'd be funny to go eat chips in front of her.
So there was a line of about half an hour probably
Yeah.
to just line up to get her to sign whatever, and you just walked right up to the front of the line and started eating chips like a creeper.
I think I told you like, hey, take a picture of this. Like I was like, get ready.
Oh, I was ready.
Yeah,
I was ready.
And so there I am, just making her day, making her absolute day, and then
she was not creeped out.
Well,
at
so
all.
in this picture, which is again blurry and a 20-year-old digital camera picture, she was posing like she thought I was going to like feed her a potato chip.
Right, lost opportunity there. By the way,
well. For my art, what I committed to was to continue to eat the chips while she sat there and posed and like kind of like just had this like okay look on her face. But I continued to eat the chips.
Sorry.
One could argue missed opportunity,
or commitment to the character,
which is where I would like. That's where I find myself. Thank you very much. So that's the Victoria Silvstedt A and B shots, world famous. This is the stuff you're only going to find it here, right here on Midlife Krisis.
Midlife Krisis exclusive.
That's an exclusive. That's an absolute exclusive.
Well, it's an exclusive story. The picture apparently is all over the internet.
Exactly.
It's like so Governor Body is like the he's like a space cop in the movie. And there's another bad guy. Let's see if you can find him. Okay. That's not the other bad guy. That's James Belushi, John Belushi's brother who didn't die. And he's in the movie for like a second. But it's pretty much like one of the coolest movies I've ever seen. And that's why I wanted to share it with you guys, the Laserdisc community. It's kind of tough for me to pick out like where I want to start. But like first things first, let's take it out, let's do an unboxing. So, there you go. There it is. That's a Laserdisc. Fucking big ass CD, right? Oh shit. Hold on a second. Fuck. Hold on.
Yeah, I said that. I've got the fucking connections. You piece of shit. You fuck.
Oh no, he got it again.
Yeah,
we got him
this
again.
time.
You know, I don't
Got him again.
I don't need to.
Got him.
Yeah, got him, neighbor. I don't need to explain much here. You know, I'm just gonna let this sit. I'm gonna let it sing.
And the Xbox booth.
Yeah.
What do you imagine he's looking at?
Man. Well, aside from all of the booth babes, which was a thing.
Oh man. Yeah.
That
He's
doesn't
Googling a
exist
booth
anymore.
babe for
He's
sure.
definitely looking at booth babes.
Yeah.
He is probably, I would assume safely, that he played video games. I mean, he's Violent J of Insane Clown Posse. I think that's an even money bet.
Yeah, yeah. And only the best video games.
like Backyard Wrestling.
Backyard
Yeah,
Wrestling.
exactly. So yeah, that's him again. And anytime I'm going to run into a member of the posse, they will be featured on this program because it's the right thing to do and the right way to do it. Next up. So blurry and really pixely. This picture is gross. But what this is the prototype pre-production Nintendo DS.
Yes, and that system was doomed to fail. You just ask me in 2004, and I would have told anybody who wanted to listen, there was no way that system was going to be a success, and no way that it would do better than the much better designed with way better games PSP. And I think history has proven me to be correct.
Well, I remember a guy, a Nintendo faithful, this guy, who said that no, the DS is going to be something special. And the PSP, I didn't say the PSP was going to fail or anything like that. All I said was that the DS, like, it's a unique thing and it's going to be special. Neither one of us could know that that a game about dogs would come out and like explode this thing. I just thought it was going to be a neat device. But it ended up being, I think, the single best-selling console of all time.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So this is a demo of a Pac-Man game where you would roll Pac-Man like a trackball. What's cool you see the black bezels around both of the screen.
Yeah,
Like that never made it. The gaps that like kind of hide the buttons and the D-pad, that never made it to production. And then the D-pad itself was very rounded and like very like toy looking.
Yeah.
That they went with a tried and true like square edge Nintendo D-pad.
So more exclusive content.
Yeah, exactly. So this one, with this, we got to go. And I don't think you were with me on this one, but I'm pretty sure I was with Ryan Scott, and we, pulled the old. Hey, I have to write an article about this thing. He did, I didn't. I was snuck in, and we got to skip a giant line to go play the DS, and it was like quiet in there with like 6 people, and so like for me, being a carny that snuck into this thing, like that was like wow, like okay, now I'm doing something that like only a handful of people in the world have done at this point, because that to go see it was it was invite only, like it wasn't open to the general public. So yeah. Way to go, Nintendo security! I got to go have a cool insider moment, and here we are 20 years later talking about your system that changed the way it looked. Next slide. So this is early 2000s E3 as hell.
Oh Jesus!
It's everything about early 2000s E3 is right here.
Jesus
so
Christ.
You have me. Hugging most certainly against that person's will, although we don't know. We don't have testimony.
That's right.
But let's just assume for our intents and purposes that Crash Bandicoot's not
non-consensual hug. That's probably the 100th hug that he had to
easily.
I'm stand that day.
I'm hugging Crash Bandicoot. I will point out he has his hand around my shoulder. He's not hover handing like Keanu.
They're trained, Brian.
Trained. He's into it. He's into it.
No, they're trained to be into it.
Exactly. And then over to the right, you have an aforementioned Booth Babe, which E3 was lousy with this stuff. And like here's the deal, like times have changed, like no one's questioning that. Is there a reason or an argument to have people like Booth Babes at events? That's not a discussion I'm here to make.
Okay.
What I will say,
really to see where this is going.
What I will say is, as a 20-year-old of the early 2000s with that mindset, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. It was fine.
Hold on. Hold on a second. Hold on. Hold on a second. Hold on. And like, what happens is he has like this like thing called the anti-life equation, which is like a really complex math problem that like I don't get, but Governor Body definitely understands. And what'll happen is Secundus goes to Earth and he tries to like make a baby with the human woman, right? And then Governor Body is trying to stop it. Does not stop it with a laser eye, unfortunately. Again, only strike against the movie. But what'll happen is like Secundus, like he puts his hand over like a human woman. And I think her name is Sonia, but Governor Body calls her Sonia. So for the rest of the review, I'm gonna call her Sonia. So Sonia has the baby with the anti-life equation in it. And then Abraxas falls in love with her. And then like fast forward, falls in love with her after the fast forward part.
Next shot. So this is the Xbox booth. Not as impressive as Nintendo ever. They never outdid Nintendo in my opinion.
Good square footage,
but it was
though.
huge. Yeah, it was huge. You had tons of demo kiosks. Look at Doom 3 back there. That was a big deal. Doom 3 coming out on a home console. Oh,
that's right. Fable. Yeah.
Fable being their supposed answer to Legend of Zelda.
Right.
And one of many overpromised and under-delivered Peter Molyneux games.
Yeah.
But I would, I've gone back and played the original Fable, and it's not a bad game. It just doesn't do the things that he said it would do. If you
were totally unaware of the marketing behind it and you just played the game, you're like, oh, it's a pretty good game.
It's fine. Yeah, exactly. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. And it's fine. Next shot. This one's for Daddy. Again, blurry, horrible picture, 20 years old. But I got to go to an E3 where SNK Neo Geo had a presence. Oh, yeah. I'm a diehard SNK fan, which will be outed sooner or later on this program. But this is
the Neo Geo console and
an arcade cabinet and a bunch of cartridges. That was my early retirement purchasing that happened in like 2008 and 9.
I was there for it.
Yep. But yeah, this is they're not owned by Sammy Sega at this point. They're their own business still. I think they're owned by Playmore still. But like they showed off, they have a 3D King of Fighters there, but they also were showing an actual Neo Geo game. Like King of Fighters, I think 2003 was on display and playable on a Neo Geo home system. So like to be able to go, for me, being able to go to an E3 where like Neo Geo has a presence in 2003. Remember that fucking thing comes out in 1990.
Yeah, it's
and they're in an E3 in 2003.
The longevity they got out
Yeah,
of
it's
that.
amazing. So that one's for Daddy, all for Daddy. And then this, I believe, is our final shot. I don't know what we're ending on. Let's take a look. Any guess? You want to take a guess as to what it might be? I could be building this up for nothing.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I
guess.
literally forget.
I'll give you some options. Either me with like a really dumb look on my face.
Okay.
Me with just the frosted tips. I had
Just zoomed in of your frosted tips, like super punched in.
I think those are two options.
Yeah.
I can't think of
Okay,
anything else.
let's see what it is for the grand reveal. Here we go. Oh, that's friend of the show, Dan Baker, and he's cooking his face on red LEDs, as you do.
Well, that's a great way to end it.
Yeah.
No frosted tips there.
Nope. Just a dude intently staring at red LED lights.
Yeah.
What
One of the
could
guys
go
that
wrong?
we snuck in.
Yeah.
So-
One of several guys that we snuck
Yeah.
in.
So any law enforcement agencies, if you're out there, this guy snuck into E3 and he should be all points bulletin needs to be sent out for him.
Doing the real work that needs to be done. I'll ask you to turn off our monitor there, Uncle Bob, and then we're going to go back to regular programming here. We should be back on. So I think that was a lot of E3 discussion. It was a really fun, super duper fun stroll down memory lane.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it to you if you have any closing things you want to say as we wrap this segment up on E3. I will say quickly before I hand it over to you. It sucks that it's going away. I fully understand why it's going away and what it became. I'm kind of sort of part of the problem because I did sneak in a bunch and make things slow down. But as a legitimate, when I went for the ones that I legitimately went to, it was smooth and buttery. So I'd like to think I didn't do that much damage, but I don't think anything is ever going to come close to being what that is again. And I just think the industry is moving away from the need of it, and like the directs and all that stuff like show that.
Yeah.
And there's certainly an argument to be made about like, it's fun now to wake up at 7 a.m. Like I do. I wake my son up with me sometimes, and we'll like plop down and watch a live Nintendo Direct. Like it's new warm fuzzy memories that we're making. But I will say, pour one out for the OG E3. I miss you, and thank you for all the fun memories. And then I'll take it to Uncle Bob the Ace, close us out, and here we go.
So I just want to say two things. The first one is that there are some people, including people I know, who, and you actually mentioned this, you go to your first E3 and it's just like it's Christmas.
Yeah.
And then by the fourth or fifth E3, they're kind of like jaded. And it's like, God, E3 again this year, and I have all this stuff too. Especially if you were in the industry. Let me tell you, by the time I got into the industry, even the year I went there when I had real work to do, it never got old, never got boring. It was awesome every year. It was awesome to go when I was a game tester. It was awesome to go when I was a game designer. It was awesome to go when I wasn't in the industry at all and I just wanted to see games. It was really, really something special. You're totally right. It's probably never going to come back again. And then in terms of the fall of E3, the Nintendo Directs, I blame the pandemic a little bit because that.
You got to blame the pandemic all the way. I don't think this conversation is happening, at least not as it is now today.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for COVID, I think E3 was drifting away.
It was on the decline.
It was on the decline,
but
for
it
sure.
wouldn't be. Dead.
It wouldn't be all the way dead like it is now.
Yeah,
without COVID.
Well, and then one thing I have it in my notes. I'm not sure if you agree or not, but the Jeff Keighley stuff and what he's doing in the summer. And I read some articles about the death of E3, and there's a lot of unnamed sources that are saying that they like what the thing that he's promoting, and they're talking about E3 as being dead, but the thing that he's doing is being sort of like the replacement for E3.
Yeah.
And then obviously he's done such a great job with the Game Awards and like how big that's become. So I put him as having a sort of a minor role there because he did during the pandemic, he did the Summer of Games, which is like sort of lackluster, but at least it was something to give content.
Yeah.
And then he did an event last year, and then he's doing an event this year. So I think those three things combined to hasten the death knell of E3. And it's one of those things that, I mean, I can't say that it shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
But I absolutely can say that I'm bummed out about it because you just saw those pictures and from us in 2003, 2004,
Yeah.
2005. And we could have gone on for at least another hour. We didn't really talk about 2005. Didn't talk about the E3s you went to after then.
There's so much more to
much
cover.
more content, right?
And we'll probably have more E3 discussion, especially the closer we get to like June when like we'll really feel it.
Yeah.
So we could definitely
fill the absence.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
sure.
the thing is like there's so many stories and fun memories of going to it, and
Right.
not to salt any wounds out there. Like, yeah, we understand that not everyone got to go to E3, but we did. Damn it,
We did. And it was
glorious,
glorious.
and it was absolutely glorious. So with that, let's sign off. Gentleman's handshake.
Oh, gentleman's
on the
handshake.
wide shot.
All right.
Here we go.
But then, like, the baby is born, and his name's Tommy, and he can't talk, but he's got, like, special power, like other people named Tommy, you know, that you've probably heard about in other movies. So, like, what'll happen is, Tommy has the anti-life equation, and then Secundus tries to find him, right? And so then he does find him, but then like Governor Body is mad about it, and then like they fucking fight, like, and which makes sense because he was a wrestler. Jesse Ventura was a wrestler, and the fight is awesome. Like, it's the last part of the movie, and he kicks his ass, and then like he saves Tommy and Sonya, and then and so Abraxas Governor Body has like a fucking what do you call it, like a he has this thing on his wrist, and it's his answer box, and so at the end of the movie he asks the answer box like if it would be chill if he can stay on the planet and raise Tommy. No more anti-life equation. It's very much a pro-life equation at this point of the movie. And Answer Box says that's more than chill. Yes, that's fine. And then he has to like call back to his home planet, and they say that that's also chill. And so he gets to stay behind. And like Sonya and Tommy, like they all get to like chill, right? Together as a family. So, I mean, it's not like my best laser disc that I have, but it's one of my favorites ever. If you like the movie Terminator, you'll probably like this movie. Not as good, to be fully honest, but it's pretty badass. And so, yeah, that's Abraxas. One more sneak peek. And I'll show you again. Big fucking CD. And yeah, so like and subscribe. That helps. I'm trying to move out of this fucking place. That would be like the ultimate benefit. If you can help, that helps me if you like and subscribe. Oh shit! Right, so like in my last review, I did Cool as Ice. Here, let me pop that in here so that you can see how that looks. When I do this, I'll just pop that on. Oh fuck, hold on. Wait, no, wait. No, wait. Hold on. Oh, wait. Hold on. Oh, I can't get it to work. Anyway, what I want to say about Cool as Ice, a thing I forgot in my last review, is that the dad, Bamberly's dad, and the guy that he fucking hates vanilla, that's actually played by the dad on Family Ties, which I found really interesting because on Family Ties, he's not a dick. He's like kind of like a hippie. So like a nice hippie. It's his son that's the dick. It's his son. So for him to be on this, on Cool as Ice, he's like a dick in this one. Again, son is a dick in Family Ties. Okay, so smash that like, switch on, subscribe, And like just, you know, like thanks for checking my shit out. I got some more laser discs that I'm gonna deal with. So thanks, subscribe and like it. I love you.